Check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys.
Welcome to Red Storm Chasers. I'm Vincent here with Craig and Nick. On this episode, we'll look back at the West Virginia victory. We'll look ahead to the two games this week against Sacred Heart and Boston College. Guys, how are your weekend? Good start to the weekend, obviously. A Friday with a St. John's victory makes for a nice weekend.
Yeah. Went out, celebrated, had some drinks with you fine gents.
It's good.
It's always good. It's always good to start a weekend off with the St. John's wins. But yeah, it was a good weekend. We had our cousin's 40th birthday party. We were all together for that, and that was fun. On Saturday, I had a engagement party for one of my friends, so that was a nice time. And then on Sunday, hung out with some of my girlfriend's cousins. So full weekend for Nick Coughlin.
Nice. The only way a weekend is better is if it's like Thanksgiving weekend. You get 4 days to celebrate. We did have a win over Thanksgiving break.
That's true.
An extra day to celebrate a nice St. John's victory. Always fun. And I say watched the game. I guess the better term would be I tried to watch the St. John's game.
Very good.
We had ESPN really did a nice botch job on our game.
Yeah.
Nothing like letting some high school basketball run over the start.
Sure. Why start us? Who cares?
We really need that. And then taking us out with 3 minutes to go.
Who wants to see the end?
Just to get to UConn and Kansas. Now, listen, it's bad scheduling on your part. Okay, if you think the games are going to overrun, you got to
figure it out.
Adjust for that.
Slide the tip.
Right? Slide the tip. You got multiple channels. Put them on ESPN too. But yeah,
we were on ESPN. So.
No. Well, I'm sorry. You have multiple channels. You could put them somewhere else. They put us on ESPN News.
Right.
You can put Kansas and UConn on ESPN News.
They would never do that.
Weren't
they on? How is
it's
that
absurd.
game on ESPN? Oh, because they had the college football game on?
College football.
It was Saturday.
It
was Friday. Sorry, they had
They had
a conference championship. It had to be somebody.
Was it the Oregon, Washington?
No,
that was on ABC.
The American, maybe.
May have been the American.
Somebody. Oh no. Oh yeah, but maybe.
I don't know.
They had to have somebody's
the
conference
American.
champions game that day.
What was Boise State on?
CBS. No. Fox Sports 1. Conference championship for Mountain West is on Fox. It's actually on Fox. I'm sorry, it was on Fox. Not even Fox Sports 1.
Yeah.
CBS had the SEC.
Speaking of college football, how about Florida State not getting in?
Yeah.
That's wild. They got snubbed.
I do like to see the ACC get snubbed. There's a nice feeling there. Unfortunately, it's at the benefit of Alabama, which is not really great.
Right. Nobody wants to see that Alabama in it again for the how many? Well,
No.
I guess they missed it.
They missed like once in
They missed
7 years.
They missed it, whatever. Alabama and Michigan is like a game of hatred, right? Like I think 95% of the country will watch that game in anger and just hope that both teams somehow lose. I know I will. I mean, I'm not. I'm Michigan cheating, Alabama just being Alabama.
Yeah.
At least we look forward to the other game, Washington, Texas.
At least it's weird teams.
I guess.
I mean, not really.
Texas
weird,
is not a weird team.
Except that they have been. Texas hasn't made the playoffs yet ever.
No,
Correct.
Fair.
The real problem is
Washington made it once.
Whoever wins that Michigan-Alabama game is going to win it all. Neither of those teams. Texas already beat Alabama, so they're never beating them again.
Yeah.
Michigan is just a better team than Texas and Washington.
And Michigan's going to steal the signs for everybody. So
That's the other thing.
They've been scouting them all season.
For sure. Washington can score a lot, but their defense is a Pac-12 defense. So
yeah, Pac-12 was pretty good this year, though, to be completely honest.
I'm not knocking the Pac-12. I don't dislike them either. I just think that Pac-12 and the defense. I mean, defense in the Pac-12 is a lot different than defense in the rest of the country because on defense in the rest of the country, you actually try to stop them from scoring, whereas Pac-12 defense, you just hope that it goes quickly so you can get your offense back out there.
True.
Hey, you can say that the Pac-12 offenses are better than any other offense though in the country.
Potentially. The problem is, the adversity they face is not as good. I mean, listen, Oregon is a good team, right? Washington beat Oregon. Oregon is a good team. They beat them twice. So, yeah, maybe I'm wrong.
I mean, the Pac-12 have good tegoing
Maybe Texas and Washington had a shot.
We'll see.
You know who doesn't have a shot? Florida State.
Florida State doesn't.
Because the regular season doesn't matter.
Well, they're going to play Georgia.
We're just going to pick 4 teams at the
the
beginning.
Orange
We'll
Bowl.
just call it. It's fine.
They're playing Georgia in the Orange Bowl?
They're going to get killed by Georgia, by the way. But
yeah, because, by the way, Georgia absolutely deserves to be in the playoffs, even though
they don't.
Sure they do.
No, they don't.
Yes, they absolutely do.
By what standard?
By the standard that they were the best team all year and they lost one game.
They played nobody, but sure.
You can't make the argument that they played nobody and then tell me on the flip side, Florida State deserves to get in because they went undefeated. You can't do that.
Well,
those are counterintuitive. You can't make the argument that Florida State deserves to get in because they went undefeated and they beat everybody on their schedule.
Florida State was also a conference champion. Georgia was not.
Okay, Florida State really beat nobody. There's not a single good team.
They beat LSU, who's top 15 team.
Okay. Who played in what conference?
The SEC.
Right.
Georgia didn't play LSU.
They didn't play LSU. Georgia beat multiple teams who are on the same level as LSU. Florida State beat LSU week what, 2?
Week 1, yeah, maybe 1 or 2, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, listen. Is it a good win? Sure, absolutely. I won't take it away from them, but to say that there's no way Florida State's schedule is nearly as good as Georgia's, it's just not.
It's not, but the SEC East is not as good as the SEC West. The SEC overall this year was down this year, frankly.
The SEC East is 3 times as good as the ACC.
I don't disagree with that. But my point is,
then there you go.
Well, but Georgia didn't beat Alabama.
But that's not the argument you made.
I did because I said in what world did they make the playoff? They don't make the.
You said they didn't play anybody.
First I said they don't. First I said they don't deserve to make the playoffs.
That was the argument.
And I talking about that. They don't deserve to make the playoffs. They didn't beat Alabama. They don't deserve to make the playoffs.
Well, there were 2 other ranked teams in their conference. I mean, in their section of the conference. The Missouri, who's top 10, and Tennessee, who's top 15. Both of those are good teams.
Yeah.
They also played
Florida?
Ole Miss, and they beat them 52-17 when Ole Miss was 9.
Fair.
Ole Miss ranked 11 at the end of the year.
And they beat Kentucky, who was ranked 20, 51-13. Georgia did.
You can't say that Georgia didn't beat anybody. Listen,
I mean,
you can say the SEC was down, and it was. It certainly was, but
there's SEC bias, but that doesn't. The SEC is good. I'm not saying it's not good. Like, let's not get
to say they didn't beat anybody and then say that Florida State deserves to get in just because they won all of their games. Those are conflicting arguments. I think Florida State deserved to get in.
All I said was Georgia doesn't deserve to be in. That's all I said.
I think they do.
You made the argument that then you can't say anything about Florida State. But I'm just saying, all I said was Georgia doesn't deserve to be in.
I think Georgia does deserve to be in. I also think Florida State deserves to be in.
Next year, going to 12, so it'll be fine.
No, it won't be fine.
So both those teams will get in.
Sure, great. That's cool. You just have the same argument just further down the line. That's all we're doing.
After 12, there's really nobody that can win the championship.
Sure. If you discount all the Group of 5 schools. I mean, right?
I mean, you're getting a Group of 5 school.
Yeah, you're getting one Group of 5 school.
Correct.
Okay. Tell Tulane they didn't have a shot at being as good as any of those teams in the top 10 this year.
I mean, they played Ole Miss and they got smacked.
Okay. And they lost their conference championship game, so that's why they didn't get into the.
As Florida, they won their conference championship. They didn't get in.
My point is simply 12 doesn't solve the problem; it just kicks it down the road. Anyway,
this
is a college basketball podcast.
Sorry, enough college football talk.
College football has its own problems, and let's hope they continue to stay out of the Big East. That's all we need.
Yeah, that's true.
The less college football is involved, the better in the Big East world.
Although,
for sure,
I'm sure St. John's would have really nice jerseys. You get the Skyline jerseys; they'd be beautiful.
Skyline jerseys,
yeah,
like the court.
Yeah, on a jersey.
How would that even work, though?
Probably, it'd be a helmet. It'd be on the helmet.
A Skyline helmet would make sense. A Skyline jersey would be weird, I think.
I mean, we have Skyline jersey for like our baseball team, our lacrosse team.
Really?
Yeah, and we used to have the Skyline pants. Where it was
yeah, but I mean, for a football, I'm just thinking for a football jersey. Like, I understand that you could have
you do like the length of the body. It'd be weird.
It would be incredibly weird.
Yeah,
that's weird.
Doing the Skyline on the helmet would be cool.
Skyline on the helmet would be cool.
That's what. Yeah.
Skyline helmet with the SCG.
Skyline on the jersey. Cool.
And then you could have New York State in like the receiver gloves.
That's true.
Or like the city.
Probably the
city.
Queens.
Probably all 5.
Except for Staten Island. Sorry, Staten Island.
No, you gotta include it. It's one of the 5.
Yeah, I guess.
I mean, only technically. Anyway, before the St. John's football team gets back on track, we got to look back at our win against West Virginia.
Undefeated since 2004, baby.
A big 79-73 victory in Big 12 Big East Challenge. Is it Challenge? Is that what it's called? Big 12 Challenge? Yeah. helping our way along for the conference.
The Big East is losing the Big 12 battle right now, 4-3. We still have 4 games left, so we'll see where we end up.
So we got a chance.
I'm saying
We did our job.
There's a chance.
We did our job. That's all we can do.
We did what we're supposed to do.
We did lose the rebound battle in the West Virginia game, which was not great. But besides that, a ton of positives. Listen, there's a lot of other games we've won, right? I would say a lot of other games, but the other games we've won were part of the tournament, or they were, against teams like Holy Cross. This was a true road test in Morgantown. Real team. Now, listen, West Virginia certainly has, as we mentioned last time, off-court issues. They lost their head coach before the season. They're kind of a team that's put together. They're not protected to finish that high in the Big 12, but it's a legit road win, a good out-of-conference game, and it was a good game, and it was nice to come away with the victory.
Yeah, you had 10,000 people in attendance, and like you said, it's still a big environment. Morgantown's it's a very big college town.
Yeah,
students show out to the games, and it's a loud environment. It's a very good test for our team to go. Even an away game's an away game, and they might not be the best team in the Big 12, but they're still a Power 5 conference.
Yeah, and the Big 12 is arguably the best conference in the country. I mean, I would like to argue the Big East, but certainly Big 12 is
Big East has 3 top 10 teams right now. I'd say we're the best conference.
I would agree, but my point is, if you talk nationally, Big 12 is right up there. So any Big 12 team, especially on the road, is of value. And like you said, a lot of things to like. I think the end of game scenario, I think we executed very well, and that is a factor of coaching, which obviously now is a luxury we have, which we haven't had for years. I feel like
it's nice to have good coaching.
It is. I feel like we used to, end of game scenarios would end up really messing up and missing our opportunities, and we lose a lot of close games. We all know that. We lost a ton of close games.
Yeah.
But we didn't. We made the plays down the stretch. We needed a basket. We made a 3. All of a sudden, it widened that gap, and it was good to see that. It was good to see that.
It was, and I joke it's good to have good coaching, but it is nice to actually see a plan, right? How many times over the past, 8 years, really, have we come out of timeouts at the end of game scenarios where you could see there was an idea, right, but there wasn't a real play and there wasn't a real plan. Whereas here, like you said, we've got real plays, we've got real plans. We know. Our guys know what they're supposed to be doing. Whether they execute it or not, obviously, turns out the game. But
sure.
There certainly is that relief that I don't feel it as much coming out of time. Like I know we've got something cooked up.
Yeah,
it's not going to be a let's get the ball to Posh Alexander and hope to God he figures out what to do with it.
Right.
So that is nice, and this is the time to really continue to build that connection with the players, where we can run those plays and get that down before conference play.
Absolutely. I think everybody at this point even when we were talking to Aiden, it seems like everybody's bought in from top to bottom, and that's the only way we're going to become a team this season. And that's, it's shown down the line.
I think it's the only way you can play for
sure.
Everything I've read is you're either in or you're out, and you got to be
all in.
I think it's useful.
He's won 2 national championships, so I think he knows what he's doing.
We'll get into the stats in a minute. The thing that little worried me a bit was only 7 people scored for us. Not that is unusual. I think that's fairly normal. And obviously, I think the Holy Cross game where everybody scored was a little different. It's a lesser competition. But it's a bit concerning in the sense that Aline had 14 points off the bench, which was spectacular.
Really good day for him.
A huge day for him.
Yeah,
he really came out of his own.
He's really starting to play well and playing. I think he'll play a big role.
I think he absolutely could. The only other points from the bench, though, was Ejiofor had 2 points. Nobody else on the bench scored.
Yeah, that's not ideal.
That's something we got to work on. We can't have. I mean, listen, if we're gonna get 14 points from Aline every night, sure. But you're not. So we need to have a bit more depth in that. We need guys off the bench, and it's not like they didn't get minutes, right?
No,
Dunlap had 10 minutes. Wiltshire had 11 minutes. Davis had 6, and Drizza had 4. So
they combined for 30.
Yeah, there's a lot of opportunities there, and we can't rely too heavily on our starters. In the past, we've only been able to rely on our starters, and the hope is with a team like Rick Pitino as a coach, that's going to move away. And that was the only thing I was a little concerned about watching this game.
I think Wilcher and Dunlap are where you're going to get that scoring from.
I would agree.
Right?
What? What do you mean? Like,
Well, I
off
mean,
the
you're
bench?
looking for bench players that are going to make an impact, right? Wilcher and Dunlap, while they didn't score today, they're freshmen. They're still getting a hang of it. We're still pretty early in the season. I think looking forward. I mean, Aline obviously shows that he's going to be an impact player from the bench.
For sure. I'm not super. I'm just saying. I think watching the game, that was one of my concerns.
I'm just looking through.
Now listen,
who's the guy?
Dunlap and
Who's the
Wilcher,
guy?
but I mean, Ejiofor, obviously he took 2 shots, but Drizza and Davis didn't even take any shots, right? So there was no opportunities there. Dunlap and Wilcher both did take shots, and they didn't make them. But so yeah, I mean, you're right. I do think that's where we're going to get the points, and I do think that is, it's freshmen, they're figuring it out. This is the time to figure it out. The hope is just that they all do figure it out, because going into Big East play with, Aline and Ejiofor, hoping that Ejiofor can get some offense is not something that's going to work out that well.
Yeah, well, maybe we'll see. I don't know. I like Ejiofor and I like Aline a lot.
I like them both. I don't think we can rely on just 2 guys.
Right. Well, remember we are missing R.J. Lewis, who's out for a month now with shin splints, and we're missing.
That was rough. I mean, losing Lewis was that hurt because he had such a great game. And he really looked like he would be a guy who would step into a big role, and now he's going to miss another month.
Yeah, I think this game too, we saw a lot of, when we get in foul trouble, who we're going to get off the bench a lot. It's going to be Aline, it's going to be Ejiofor. I said this last week or 2 weeks ago that Ejiofor, 2 weeks ago when I picked him as my spotlight player, Ejiofor is going to be crucial to this season, because when Soriano gets in foul trouble and people are going to be targeting him all throughout the Big East season, Ejiofor is going to be the guy to come in. And if he can hold it down, him and I mean, Glenn Taylor starts, but really Ejiofor is going to go off the bench, I believe. If he can, like you said, he only had 2 points this game, but he played 11 minutes, and I thought he played pretty well. He had 4 rebounds. He looked pretty good. He could have been better on a couple of the rotations, we all need help boxing out.
4 rebounds, though. Not bad.
4 rebounds, not bad.
One block. He did have a good game. Just offensively was what I was talking about.
No, yeah. But I just think this was a good game. We got a lot of guys. You got a lot of time. We had 4 guys off the bench get more than 10 minutes. So we're deep. We can work on the shooting a little bit, but the shots will fall.
I think we always worry about being deep, but if you look at teams in the tournament, it's not uncommon for them to go seven deep and be done.
No, for sure.
We don't need 11 guys to score.
I don't think we do.
We just need I don't disagree with you that we need more than 6, but not much.
I don't. I think I need more of a disparity in the point scoring. Right, Aline 14, Ejiofor 2. Right, that's what I was more talking about. Right, if it's a more balance coming off the bench, I think that gives us a little bit more. But you are right. Most teams only have 6 guys who are going to really get minutes and score points. So, and we fortunately have more. Joel Soriano, obviously, haven't talked about him yet, but
I'm talking about the player of the game. Don't worry.
Career high points, 24. I mean, we'll get there.
Spoiler alert:
24 points, 9 rebounds. Didn't get a double-double. Disappointing to see that, but only for fun stats. 3 blocks though. He had an incredible game.
He had what I think it was like 17 points in the first half.
Yeah. At one point we had scored, I think it was 15 points, and he had 9 of them.
Yeah. I mean, he was just dominant.
As
he's been all year.
He has.
We're not surprised. Unsurprisingly.
Not a question, but he had a great year last year, obviously, right? And there's always can you kind of replicate it, right? Like, how good are you actually? And so far, he's been, above the billing.
He's been better,
right?
Better than he
That's
was.
what I'm saying.
He's been hard to even say that, but he has been.
He's been exactly the player he was last year, and more.
The one thing we needed everybody wanted him to work on was his shooting, and he did exactly that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So somebody who did get a double-double, though, we'd be remiss to not mention Chris Ledlam. Guy, 10 rebounds, 17 points. He had a great game, too.
And he was sick.
And apparently he was sick. That's it. He had, the double-double. Dingle also had 10 points. He's the only other guy in double digits. And then, obviously, Aline, we talked about him before. But, Ledlam had a great game. Soriano had a spectacular game.
Sure.
But Ledlam continues to impress.
Solid. Yeah,
continues to be that guy that is just reliable, which is great. I mean, it's really great to see.
I like Chris Ledlum. I think he could be a little better. I think sometimes he's also always looking to get the rebound a lot, even still now. Like we talked about this earlier a couple weeks ago, that like some of our other guys who came or our transfers have got to learn how to not be, the guy.
Right, they were do-it-all guys.
Yeah, and Chris Ledlum has, I think, I've seen him on too many plays try to get the rebound rather than boxing out, and then him and Soriano both go up for it, and it kind of gets tipped around, and then they get the offensive rebound.
Yeah, I mean, I can see that, but he does have 10 rebounds. I mean, it is useful, and he can be a shot creator.
No, yeah, I mean, you definitely have to watch him on offense because
Yeah, I mean, he's scored double digits past 3 games. 17,
No,
10 against Holy Cross.
Yeah,
he's a good player. I'm just not entirely sold yet.
That's all right. It's all right. It's early in the season. Early in the
yeah.
season, I do think he's going to be a key piece for us, and I think he kind of showed that in this game, in particular. To be honest,
it could have been a key piece, but obviously wasn't. But I think the right fit was Quinn Zielinski, who led West Virginia with 19 points. I mean, he did have a good game.
He did his best to get back at us.
He did, but it didn't work. So that's good. We'll take that
For sure.
That's better for us. I mean, I think it was worked out. It's fine that he went, but you never know, right? The grass is greener sometimes. But
One thing we got to definitely talk about is of his 19 points, 8 of them came from the free throw line. And West Virginia shot 43 free throws to our 20 free throws.
That's a huge
pretty big
disparity.
We had 2 of our guys
They
foul out.
They shot 3 more. They doubled us by having 3. They shot 23 more free throws and we only shot 20.
23 more free throws.
That's nuts.
And we got fouled. I mean, we fouled them 30 times to their 16.
Yeah,
so
that's
almost
a
double,
huge,
literally.
I mean, someone's like, that
just doesn't happen.
Some would say that sounds incorrect.
Right.
Some would say that was not right,
Yeah,
and we still won.
And we still won the game at the end of it, out of spite of the refs.
All right. Well, that brings us to our Spotlight Player of the Week. Spoiled Spotlight Player of the Week, I think. At least Craig teased it. We'll go around and vote, although I don't see much parity, or I don't see any disparity here going on. Craig, who's your vote?
It's Joel Soriano.
That's great.
It's just easy.
That's simple. I think it's that simple. I agree wholeheartedly. This game, he just came out and dominated.
It'd be hard to pick anybody else.
And it's hard to pick anybody else. Nick?
It's hard to pick somebody else, so I'm not going. I'm going.
Yeah, fair enough. Unanimous. First unanimous one this season.
Yeah.
Took us, 6 weeks?
Wow, yeah.
Long time.
Who would have thought?
Sometimes I
Look at
just
us.
like to disagree for fun. But anyway, Joel Soriano has to be it. He's just a dominating performance, career high points. Shout out Joel Soriano, Spotlight Player of the Week for him. We got the tally going. That's now
2 for him.
Yeah, and 1 for RJ Lewis.
Yep.
So
And then 1 push.
1 push. So no one gets that one.
No one gets that
We said Rick
Rick
Pitino.
Pitino gets
All right,
that
Rick
one.
Pitino gets that one.
Rick Pitino.
Just for
got one.
keeping everybody in
Count
check.
that one for the coach.
Put that Spotlight Player towards the Rick Pitino Classic of next year when we get that tournament going. All right, that brings us to this week. 2 games. We got a little twofer going. I love a good twofer.
Nice.
Little Wednesday, Sunday action. First game of the week, Sacred Heart on Wednesday on CBS Sports Network, 7 p.m. That game at Carnesecca Arena. Wonder if we'll be sold out again. Could be the 3rd straight sellout.
That would be
right?
big.
We had 2 already this season, so 3rd straight sellout. And Sacred Heart, they were picked to finish first in the NEC. So, and it's from Connecticut, not far ride. Could be a good crowd. Hopefully a full St. John's crowd, but just saying, a little more.
I know what their close proximity has to do with it.
I was just trying to.
We don't need any of them there.
Well,
We don't need their kind there.
With all due respect, it's
want
Sacred
their
Heart.
kind.
Okay, it's
Go back to Connecticut, your drive-through state.
Listen, nobody dislikes Connecticut more than I do. Unfortunately for Sacred
We're
Heart,
just alienate everybody. Staten Island, Connecticut.
only places we don't like. Only places that deserve it, to be completely honest. Sacred Heart coming in 3-game losing streak. They lost at St. Joe's, home against New Hampshire, and home against Boston University, where they got absolutely smacked 70-49. Again, not, we've had walkthrough games that we've lost before, so I hesitate every time I say it, but this is a game.
New world, Vincent.
This is a game we should win. This is a game we should easily win. This is a Holy Cross type matchup. And no offense, listen, the NEC is a fine league. They're typically, Fairleigh Dickinson came out of the NEC and made a nice little run in the tournament.
Teams that are better in March
Yeah.
than they are in December.
Oh, you get a nice streak, right? They're unsuspected 16 seed. So, but at the end of the day, this is they're what are they, Nick and Ken Palm? They're
280.
Yeah, that's
280 in Ken Palm. And I think in the net they were also
first net
right.
ranking coming out this week as
First
well.
net ranking coming out this week.
St. John's 75. In case you were
They're
wondering.
263 in the net.
Yeah, that's
263.
263 is pretty bad. But St. John's 75, pretty good for us.
25. Eighth in the Big East.
Not great. Not great. We don't love that.
Big East has 3 teams in the top 10.
Just like they do in the AP.
And 5 teams in the top 50. So that's
pretty good.
That's pretty solid.
I'd like to
Pretty
be
good for the Big East Conference.
I'd like to be plus 60 right now.
Yeah, we'd like
Ideally, I would like to be in that range. Rough that we're not, but hey, it's early in the net rankings. So a lot of time to make it up. We're gonna have a lot of quad 1 games before we get there.
Well, yeah, I'm like also it's early season, so it's
Yeah.
It's like right now, Princeton is 8.
Good
Good for
team,
Princeton.
undefeated.
Good for Princeton. I don't think they'll finish the season at 8.
That's true.
But yeah,
You never know.
But you never know. Hey, you
Colorado
never know.
State 7, they beat Creighton.
That's true. That's true.
By
So-
the way, that could be a nice quad 1 loss for Creighton in the future. Is at home. Creighton, Colorado State stays ranked and wins. They
Yeah.
could get a quad 1 loss to where they thought they were going to get a.
That's where it could have been.
Helps it only helps Creighton seeding.
just
They're not going to be
seeding,
battling
yeah.
for. They're going to be in.
Right, yeah.
But it's just a little benefit for the seeding.
Another weird net thing. UMass Lowell is 46. They're a
That's
top
u- that's
50
unique.
team. That's
That's
not
unique.
one you see. It's not one you see coming necessarily.
Or one that probably is.
Well, certainly
more-
probably not one that will hold, but who knows? You
for
know?
sure. McNeese 30.
Yeah.
That's unlikely to.
So we'll see.
But I don't see them getting an at-large bid.
No,
Right?
I
At
don't
30,
see
you're getting an at-large bid
So,
technically.
so lots of room to grow for St. John's. Lots of room to grow.
It's only the first one.
It's early.
We'll only sweat over it for the next 3 months. So anyway, they did beat Holy Cross, Sacred Heart. Craig looking at me confused. We're visiting the game we're actually talking about. They beat Holy Cross just like we did, 84-77. But again,
Not too worried.
not too worried. They have 2 guys on the first team All NEC. Nico Gillette is going to be the guy that we're going to have to keep an eye out for. Shout out Rahway, New Jersey. That's where he's from. Very close to where we live.
Nice.
So we appreciate people from Rahway. 15 points a game, 7 rebounds. He's a guard. He'll be the main scorer. So let's, I kind of hope he has a good night just because he's from Rahway. I got to be honest. I'm soft on guys from New Jersey. We can screw Connecticut and Staten Island. But if you're from New Jersey, particularly if you're from Middlesex County, I'll take it.
Not the right way, not the wrong way, but the wrong way.
Exactly. Joey Riley is the other guy we'll have to keep an eye on.
Our cousin?
He sounded like our cousin.
From Rahway?
Our cousin from Rahway.
Wait a second.
Sounds very familiar.
Wasn't it just his 40th birthday?
He averages 9 points a game. So that's their top 2 guys who were on the first team All NEC. Their other top scorer is Alex Sobel. He averages 10 points a game. I think that's really all you guys need to know about Sacred Heart because the hope is that that's all we need to know
Correct.
about Sacred Heart, right? That's,
If we need to talk about it more, we'll talk about it after because we'll be very depressed. So both hopefully we don't.
As long as we can take care of business and do what we do, we'll be okay.
That's all that matters. All right, the other game this week is on Sunday. It is 4:30 on ESPNU at the Barclays Center as we face the ACC opponent Boston College. Another big conference team. We like to see big conference teams on the schedule.
Hopefully ESPN doesn't have like Ben's handsball on or something.
Well,
like that. It's
I
gonna push us, push our tip, and knock us to those
Collegiate
ah.
pickleball or something.
Yeah.
They'll put on lacrosse or something. This guy brings up pickleball just to get me.
Vincent loves.
What do you mean,
pickleball.
Vincent? It's your favorite sport.
Pickleball is a waste of time. Pickleball is a despicable sport.
Despicable.
It both ruins people's knees and ruins society by making an annoying sport unnecessarily relevant.
How mad would it be if pickleball actually is then it pushes St. John's tip on Sunday? Hilarious.
I might actually break the TV. I might. There's a shot I would actually break the TV.
I think I saw a thing that like hip replacements and knee replacements are up higher than ever because of pickleball.
Yeah, because it's easy to play, right? It doesn't really take that much skill, except the problem is people who don't do things very often decide, well, I can play this because it's an easy sport, and it is because it doesn't take any talent. So they go out and they play, and then they hurt their hips or their ankles or their knees, and that's how you end up with an increase in surgeries.
Fair enough.
That's my rant on pickleball. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. All right, back to Boston College. They lost against NC State in their most recent game. They'll play Eastern Connecticut before they will play us. They're picked to finish 12th in the ACC. Sorry, they also play Holy Cross before us, so I guess we'll have a bit of a comparison as to.
What are we just picking all the teams?
I know, right?
Holy Cross.
Sacred Cross played Holy Cross. We like to see teams we compare against first, you know?
You guys play Holy Cross?
Check.
All right, cool.
We'll definitely add you the schedule. But this is. I think this is similar to the West Virginia matchup in that it's a team that's in a big conference but is not projected to be in the top half.
Yeah.
Now we said the same thing about Michigan, and we lost that game. So
True.
You can't overlook these games.
True.
For sure.
No, definitely not.
This is not the same as Sacred Heart. This is a game where we will go in. I don't love it being at Barclays. I know we're trying to play all around New York City, and I do appreciate that. But, this is a game where, we kind of need to win, right? This is a game where
we definitely need to win.
If we want to be a legit contender, we need to beat Boston College. For the reasons we talked about. They're not necessarily a top half ACC school. We already have the loss to Michigan, which is not a top half Big Ten school. So I'd like this one to be at the Garden, right? More of a home atmosphere. Our guys are kind of used to it. We're going to be playing at a new place. Now, listen, it's the Barclays Center, so we'll be sleeping in the hotels, but it's in New York. It's not far away, at least. But I would have liked this one at the Garden just because it's a game we need to win. But hopefully we can recreate the St. John's home atmosphere type at the Barclays Center in Brooklyn because we could use it. As much as I don't necessarily think that Boston College is as good as Michigan, and it should be a game where we feel good about walking into. I do still, want that little home court advantage, I think.
I mean, they're still a power conference team, right? I mean, that the level of talent is just step up, and in terms of like Sacred Heart, it's not like that. It's a game you have to play. Yeah. I mean, it's not. No matter how good they are in the ACC, they're going to win games. You know what I mean? So,
absolutely.
You need to take it serious.
Joel Soriano is going to have his hand full. He's got Quentin Post to deal with, 7-footer, 20 points a game, 8 rebounds, 2 blocks.
That'll be a hell of a battle.
Yeah, it's going to be fun to watch.
It is. I've seen him play a bit. He played in one of the conference tournaments that I was working on, and he's a good player. Boston College isn't great. They lost to Colorado State and Loyola Chicago in that tournament, but he's a good player. Now Joel Soriano is obviously a good player too.
Yeah.
So
that's right.
It'll be a battle of the bigs. It'll be a battle of can Joel Soriano come out and do what he's been doing all season against somebody who's 7 foot. And we've seen it already.
He did it against Utah.
I know. Yeah. So the hope is that he's back on continues to be on the form he's at, and has no issue with Quentin Post. They also have Jaden Zachary as a guard, 12 points a game, 4 assists. He's kind of their point guard. So that'll be their front guy and their back guy, and the other guys are probably not as talented, but just kidding. But those will be our 2 guys to focus on as we approach this game.
Hey, they're 100 in KenPom and they're 96th in the net. Same thing. We just got to take care of business. We're going to be all right in this game. Got to box out a little bit. We got to score. We're
going to have to get offense, not from Joel Soriano, though, because of Quentin Post, I think certainly will cause a bit of... Now, listen, I think Joel Soriano is going to get his, right? He did against Utah. We've seen him go up against 7-foot guys before. But going back to, needing some balance off the bench, this is a game where I think we could, not relying solely on Joel Soriano down low, will benefit in this game from doing that.
One of the things we haven't been doing a lot is we haven't been scoring around the rim a lot. I was reading on, I think it was Rumble in the Garden, that we are shooting 55% around the rim. We're in the lowest, in the bottom 14% of Division I in that. So that's
not great.
And it's
not great.
And it's not Joel Soriano because he's been posting like 8 and 11 games.
I was saying my man Joel Soriano is missing. Who the hell is missing shots?
That is, I have to say, I am surprised because you would have thought like Joel Soriano would have driven that average way up.
So actually, I said the biggest culprits are Chris Ledlam and Glenn Taylor. More than a third of
Nick.
More than a third of Ledlam's shots have come at the rim, and he's made less than 29% of those attempts.
Jeez. All right, Nick, come on, don't hammer the poor guy.
I'm just saying.
I'm kidding. But no, that's not good. That is certainly not good.
Something we got to tighten up.
Something we have to clean up because in a game like this, where it's a team, we should beat, and it's, floppy play like that is what's going to keep them in the game.
Especially when you get to the rim, you got to finish at the rim.
Yeah.
Missing their shots like that, he's getting the rebound because he's 7 foot tall, right? And because of that, they're sticking around, and all of a sudden, we find ourselves in a game in the back half of the second half, and now we've got trouble.
Yeah.
And that's sort of what happened against Michigan,
Yeah.
right? I'm not because of this exact issue, but we were in it, and then all of a sudden we weren't anymore. So not letting things spiral out of control and cleaning things up like that is how we ensure we come away with the win we're supposed to get.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Well, that'll do it for this week. For Craig and Nick, I'm Vincent. Go Johnnies. Keep chasing.